Hello, young voters. It's Vikaas here, and today we got a debate about immigration between our famous Nico, of course, if you know, and a new addition, quite the centrist, quite the interesting guy. He's a very base member. He's a former Downtown East alumnus, intelligent guy, 140 IQ. Like, what else is there?
A fantastic
Very
introduction,
Sigma.
Vikaas.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm
I
nervous
didn't write
now.
that, by the way. That was Vikaas's little little intro that he made himself.
Yeah, well, I'm nervous now. 140 IQ. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to stack up
Oh
for
yeah,
that.
so the topic of debate
And
is
he was on the academic team, right?
yeah, he's
Yeah.
top member, like very contributing member, very integral part of the team. So yeah, the topic of debate is what is the ideal amount of immigration for the United States?
Okay. Do you want to go first with your opening statement?
Sure. Yeah, I'll just give a quick opening statement. Firstly, I'd like to preface this with the importance that immigration has on our society, and like just how much of a political item this is. Ever since 2015, Donald Trump in the when he was running for the Republican nomination, he brought up this issue of immigration. Before we have like Romney very very neoliberal with regards to the economy. He really pushed for lots of legal immigration. We have McCain pushed for a lot of legal immigration. Bush, yeah, some immigration. So all of these like neoliberal-ish individuals, they really push for this massive immigration. They believe it'll help bolster our economy. But one thing that they forget is that this has dramatic impacts on the culture of the United States. And we know this. We know that these things have a dramatic impact on the culture of the United States because they already have. In the very beginning, you have Anglo-Saxon Protestant immigrants, and not really immigrants, but settlers that come to the New World. And later you have different waves, and each one of them has impacted the country. So I think we need to ask the question, what will the new waves do to this country, and how much of an impact should we let them have?
Now, thank you, Jeya. Now we'll move on to Nico or Nick for his statement.
All right, and I'll respond to your points in a second. I'll just go through my opening statement, I guess, and I'll respond to your points once the debate starts. So basically, my opening statement or my position would be: we need to let in as many immigrants as humanly possible. They're economically super beneficial. If we legalize them, they're even more beneficial. And everybody currently in the U.S. that's like illegally immigrated should probably, that has been here for about, I don't know, like a year or something, should be given citizenship. We should make it much easier to immigrate. And I mean, up until with some reason, obviously, if it happens that there's a lot of issues with whatever people coming into the country that probably shouldn't be here, then we'll stop it at there. We should just keep letting in more people up until the point where it becomes probably too unsafe to be beneficial, obviously. But yeah, my opinion is that we should dramatically make immigration a lot easier and a much more humane process, and focus on making it just a much smoother process than it is already, because right now it's not that great. And for the reasons that, one, it's super economically beneficial, two, it's culturally beneficial, so I'm in direct opposition there, and number three, it's the humane thing to do. And the US, if it wishes to be a world leader, should be aiming to be as humane and have a good reputation as possible.
So yeah, so now since we've established opening statements, I think it's best now to move on to counter arguments. So Nick or Jeya, which one of you would like to devise the first counter argument to each other's opening claims?
I'll go first, if that's okay. I think that.
I was asking like Nick, is you okay with that?
Okay. Yeah, I'm good. Go for it.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So one thing that Nico.
Yeah, Nico's fine. Yeah, Nico's fine. Yeah, Nico.
Okay. Yeah. So one thing that Nico brings up is immigration is good for the economy. And if you look at statistics, the Cato Research Institute, they have put up a lot of statistics about this. And if you go by the numbers on the books, I mean, this claim appears to be true on face value. The wages, people will say, oh, bringing in immigrants will depress the wages of native-born citizens. That's actually not the case. It doesn't really have an impact because they usually grow the economy at a proportional rate, but there's no main increased wages. One thing that they do, in fact, is they do depress the wages of undereducated Americans. So the immigrant population, about 29% of them are high school dropouts, or the equivalent of high school dropouts in the US. But only about 9% of Americans, natural born American citizens, are high school dropouts. So there is where the real competition for jobs and resources really occurs. So you're not really hitting, white collar work. Those wages aren't really being depressed. It is the, very low level, entry level service jobs that, predominantly disenfranchised members of American society are in. And it does affect them quite a bit. Wages have dropped by about, I believe it's 10% compared to where they would be without immigration. And I think that's a big issue. Secondly, Nico says, what is it? We'll bring in as many people as possible without having some sort of security risk. But if you just look at recent stuff with the Afghanistan refugees, there's within days of them arriving in Fort McCoy in Wisconsin, I believe, there are immediately sexual assaults occurring in bathrooms. These are not properly vetted individuals. I know this is a little bit off topic because it's not formal immigration, it's more like asylum, but these things need to be said. And in addition, you don't just look at what do the immigrants do with respect to crime. You have to actually look further and into the second generation, third generation type immigrant families and look at that too. But yeah, I'm not going to push the crime aspect because that's not really too strong of an argument against immigration, in my opinion.
So yeah, now that was a cogent argument from you, JS. Now I'll let Nick go on. So Nick, please explain what you think, and state your counter arguments to JS claims.
Okay, so I'm hopefully I'll remember everything he said, but just to respond to, yeah, so you said it yourself. The situation with the Afghans refugees is a lot different than immigration. So as you said yourself, it's something that's harder to compare. But sexual assaults were already happening in the U.S. before they came here. Within every subset of the population, there's always going to be something going on with a few of the people that we have to control and hopefully decrease as much as possible. And I mean we had Vikaas, do you know how many people we airlifted? And we airlifted a ton of people who are coming from a war-torn country. So the security is definitely not what it is for legal immigration, and we shouldn't really compare those. It's not fair to compare those. In addition, you talk about the wage depressing for so this it's I'll concede to you, you're correct that wages will depress for white college dropouts, white male college dropouts. That's the only demographic that the wages will decrease from anywhere from 2 to 8% of a fairly comprehensive study I read a couple of months ago. So I'll concede to you for them, their wages will temporarily depress. However, adding more people to the population means creating more demand for products and homes and all sorts of things. So within 20 years or so, the economy will more than bounce back for even those high school dropout white males and that are living in the South. So that's the demographic, and even for them, it will eventually go back. And while while that is in the end economically beneficial, I understand it's pretty it's hard to tell a guy whose wages are going down or he loses his job. It's well, it's going to be better in 20 years. So I totally would support welfare, unemployment, and generous unemployment benefits to help people who are economically disadvantaged by a more labor force coming in to support them while they get through that and try and look for more jobs and stuff like that. And so I mean, I totally support that, and that would be more of a leftist thing versus a that would also help fix it. So it's sort of like you get more people to immigrate, you also give better unemployment, healthcare. So it's all like a comprehensive solution. In addition, you talked about wages not decreasing for legal immigration. Now, something I would like to highlight is illegal immigration causes wages to decrease dramatically. Why, you might ask, is because, and just for the viewers at home, if you have a legal immigrant, somebody who's a citizen has a lot more rights than somebody who's not, obviously. And if you have a boss who's like, paying somebody, $3 an hour, that's a illegal immigrant, the legal immigrant can't really complain, because then the boss is like, I'm gonna report you to ICE, and they're gonna come and deport you if you don't like your wages, and if we control immigration, if we try and stop immigration at the border, and make it much harsher and make it much harder to get in, then people are just going to immigrate illegally, which is what we've seen and is what is happening. And then wages are actually going to go down. So if you wanted wages to keep wages high, then you would let people come in legally, give them documents so that they can't be extorted unfairly by managers and bosses into paying them lower wages under the threat of deportation.
Right. So yeah. So just as a response to Nick's question on how many people we airlifted out of Afghanistan, we airlifted 124,000 people out of Afghanistan.
All right. And within like what? Like 80% of them were in like 8 days, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my point on that was they're just not vetted. And if we don't vet immigrants, we're gonna have like the same type of results. Okay. Anyways, I'd like to respond to one of Nico's points about wages, illegal versus legal. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, one thing about wages is if you don't have immigrants coming in at all, they're not going to have any impact on the job market. I mean, that's pretty simple. So it's not really a question of what's like going to happen with the immigrant. It's what is actually happening with like native born citizens, because that's the real heart of the issue. The Constitution of the United States is basically giving the government permission to do things that benefit the general welfare of American citizens and their posterity in the preamble. So immigration laws that benefit immigrants specifically doesn't really make that much sense. And on the topic of illegal immigrants coming in, I think we could decrease the amount of illegal immigrants that come in. I think that big business is really fond of having this, cheap labor supply, to fuel our service industries, to fuel, fast food industry. And they really support this type of stuff. Now, as you're a leftist, you know that these type of things are, pretty exploitative. But if I believe that the current, presidential administration is not very competent on the issue of the border. We have a lot of people getting in through the border right now. Like during the whole like COVID thing, I think under Trump, it was starting to ramp up as well. But the administration just really is not catching these people. And I think with better policies, we could actually be able to have a more secure border and prevent these people from getting in the first place.
All right. Is that it? That's
yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. So two things. I'll respond to the economy being fine if no immigrants were coming in. I'll respond to that after this because you just talked about this. Our border is like at the strongest point. It's one of its strongest points it's ever been, and it's true. And you shake your head, but it's true. Most of the Trump provisions that he made are still there. Biden hasn't done anything about that. And in fact, Biden has deported more
Actually,
people under.
Biden is reinstating some of Trump's policies. He did take them out of effect with an executive order.
Mhm. Yeah. But I mean, the physical stuff is still there, and ICE is still there. I mean, we just saw ICE whipping, or was it ICE, or was it like a national? What was it? Because
Border Patrol.
Border Patrol. Yeah, it was Border Patrol. They were, whipping Haitian immigrants, or sorry, hitting them with long ropes that are used to drive horses, which functionally is about the same
Yeah,
thing.
they
But-
weren't actually hitting the Haitians. I'm sorry to, kind of expose the mainstream narrative on this, but
Mhm.
that was not.
Yeah, simply the rope was simply touching the immigrants at a high velocity. That was not whipping. Very different things. And it was not a whip; it was a rope used to control horses. So
Yeah, those are called reins, and
Yeah.
they were not, harming the Haitians.
Yeah. So the Haitians were not harmed; they were simply left with injuries and intimidated.
All right, yeah. So
And
let's
so-
go off topic with this. Let's
Yeah,
try
okay.
to-
I'll move on. I'll move on. So Joe Biden or President Biden has deported more people under Title 43 than Trump has. Trump was not able to deport as many people as Obama within his first 2 years, and Obama deported more candidates under like a certain law until Trump decided to expand the requirements for deportation by starting to deport whoever basically by just expanding the requirements. For example, there is a group in Mexico for the wives of deported soldiers, American soldiers who served their time in the American military and all that. And then Trump started deporting a lot of American military members who were Mexican immigrants. And now there's literally like a support group town, or there's like a support group neighborhood for literally people who are servicemen and wives or spouses of servicemen and women who've been deported under Trump. So the only thing Trump did was start deporting people who shouldn't have been deported because Obama deported too many and there wasn't any left. And Biden is continuing to deport record amounts of people and has deported more people under Title 43, which is a provision, one of the only provisions that Trump did about COVID that allowed him to deport immigrants for health and safety reasons. And Biden is continuing that. So, while a lot of people may think, Biden is like the woke president who loves immigration, he's deporting more people than Trump is right now, and using, precautions for COVID. And, we could just vaccinate them. So clearly Biden has other intentions there.
Yeah, I'm not going to touch on the COVID stuff because that's not really the topic of this debate. But yeah, I mean, first of all, I'd like to kind of debunk this whole like Haitian immigrants being hit by reins type thing. This is just not true. You can look at the actual videos. The guy is swinging his reins at people that get too close. None of them
Right.
actually
So
got
what
hit.
would have happened if so the fact that he's swinging the reins means it's okay, but if he hit them, then it wouldn't be okay.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
if I like,
It's
so if
deterring
okay,
them.
so if I had a weapon and like started swinging at you, but didn't actually hit you, it'd be fine.
Okay, can we move
Yeah,
on?
if I was
there's
trying
no-
to cross into America illegally and I
Okay,
was
guys.
No, hold on.
I hope you were.
No,
As an
the
American
Haitians. Hold
Canadian, I
on.
hope you would do that.
Hold on. All right. The Haitian immigrants were asylum seekers, which is a internationally protected thing. You are required to let in asylum seekers.
But they're not
under
really asylum
international
seekers.
law. Yes, they are
They're
asylum
economic,
seekers.
they're economic
no,
migrants.
They were literally coming. No, hold on. They were literally coming from a country that had a massive earthquake that we extended no aid to after their president was assassinated several months back. Okay, no. They're not economic migrants. They're fleeing a country in turmoil. Right? We have a requirement to let them in.
Okay, Haiti's been in
And
turmoil.
we have every.
The 1800s. It's this
Okay.
simple.
And it's particularly been in turmoil, and we haven't helped, by the way. It's particularly been in turmoil right now, and that's why they're coming in. And we are required under international law to let them in, even if they weren't in turmoil. By the way, we would still be required to let in asylum seekers for while they get processed. We're not allowed to keep them outside the border, but we were doing it anyways. And this is.
So after we cut the short, I want to like examine another one of JF's claims. So like maybe can we like
Okay.
finish this discussion like a minute maybe.
All right. I mean, I think I've illustrated my point, so I'll let you respond.
Okay, let me rebut this. So if you want to blame somebody for the state of Haiti, don't blame the US, blame France or something. I mean, like, that is not our problem. And
If we were to consider ourselves the major world player in the world, the top superpower, we would be giving aid to everyone and everybody around as much as possible, and we would be helping them if they're coming to us to seek refuge, and we're turning them away this way.
But wouldn't they, like, wouldn't they find it, wouldn't they be more at home in, one of the more Hispanic dominated countries, like, on the way to the US, they pass through, about, I think, 5 or 6 countries to get here if they take the southern route from Haiti. So why don't they want to settle there if they're not economic migrants? Mexico is
no. Hold on. They're fleeing a country in turmoil. They're not gonna stop at the first country they see, and that it doesn't mean they're economic migrants if they don't stop at a place that's not necessarily so desirable for them. Obviously, the United States is a much more desirable place to live if you can get in than some of the countries they pass along the way. So it's not a requirement that they stop at the first place they see.
But why don't they stop in those countries? Because
they would rather live. They would rather live in the United States. It doesn't mean they're not. It doesn't mean they're not economic migrants. And even if they were economic migrants, we would still be required to give them asylum.
Okay, so
your point is defeated on two counts.
No, it's really not. So let's say, okay, so you say
any immigrant who wishes asylum is required to be let into our borders while they are processed for asylum. We can throw them out after the asylum. So we're going against international law then.
Sure. I believe in the supremacy of the Constitution of the United States over international law. Plain and simple.
I believe in honoring the agreements we sign, including UN agreements that become international law.
Okay, sure. So let's say no
international power becomes one by ignoring relations with other countries and breaking some promises.
Okay, if you want to talk about power, you gain power by having the strongest navy in the world. You want to know the power of the sea.
And you know what?
Theodore Roosevelt understood this back in the 1910s. It's very simple.
All right, you want to talk about having the strongest navy in the world? Guess what? We are struggling to meet recruitment numbers every single year for our entire military, and we are running out of people who are willing to join the military, and immigrants disproportionately join the military. So if you want to make our military stronger, we should be letting in more immigrants so that they can join up.
Okay, well, if you want to talk about growing military power, you look at China. You look at China's military ads.
Yeah, you know what? Let's talk about. Hold on, let's talk about China.
Oh my gosh, Xi Jinping, like, it just conveys the soul of the nation. Those Chinese military ads. You look at the Russian military ads; they're pretty good too. Then you look at the United States military ads. It's like not a competition.
Wait,
which one instills
he's saying the American military ads are a little bit too gay.
Wait, so why is that a topic of debate?
Yeah, it's not a topic. I'd love to talk about it, but we should probably. But I would like to talk about China. I would like to talk about China though.
Okay, so like last where I left off, we were talking about how Haitian immigrants go to.
I think we're moving past that now. Do you want to talk about China? Let's talk about China. All right, China is a country.
Guys.
No, hold on. It has to do with immigration. I'm doing it right now. Okay. China is a country of what? 1.3 billion, 1.4 billion?
1.4, yeah.
Okay, 1.4 billion. We are a country of like 330 million. All right.
Yeah.
How do you think we're ever going to stack up against China if we want to compete for them as an international power in terms of production, in terms of military force, in terms of GDP, anything like that? They are rapidly industrializing. They are rapidly expanding economy-wise. We know that. We both know that. So we're never going to be able to compete with them if we are not importing our own workforce. If we're not growing our country, we're not growing our population. We should be letting everybody in right now. If you want to compete with China, we need to be filling those factories. We need to be building more factories. We need to be growing dramatically, and stopping people from coming in and immigrating to this country if they wish is definitely not doing that.
Well, you talk about this like sort of manpower aspect. We probably aren't going to beat China on, manufacturing if we buy all of our manufactured goods from China. So, I would say we start bringing in manufacturing plants back into the United States. Bernie Sanders supports this, Yang supports this, like a lot of
Also
Jews
support
on the
that,
left
yeah.
support this. Trump supports it a lot. You know, the main key industries in any society, the backbone of any society are, you know, agriculture, mining, manufacturing. I mean, that's pretty simple. Anything that doesn't come out from the ground and grows, you need to go and mine it. The US does not, most of the US's power comes from, you know, financial markets leveraging that, being the US or having the US dollar as the reserve currency. I do think that we should be having these sort of like, you know, real economic development in the US. But the answer to that is not to start having more immigrants. Well, unconditional immigrants. Like, I do support immigration. Like, if we could get like very good research scientists from China in the same way that they are pillaging our research institutions from like American professors, American PhDs, very smart individuals. They're fleeing to China.
They are, and we are not offering enough visas to people who I believe it's called like Title 10, something 10. It's like something number blank number visa, which allow people of exceptional quality or skills to come to the United States. We give them a visa, they can come and they can work for us and better the American economy. And anti-immigrant sentiment that has been driven by the GOP has caused us to cut back on the amount of visas we're giving out instead of expanding them. So if you want to build a better United States by importing skilled laborers and some of the brightest minds from countries across the world, and also unskilled laborers who are simply seeking a place to set up their lives and a place to live, then we should be extending more visas and giving citizenships faster.
All right, yeah. So one thing I would like to touch on is Jeya first mentioned that letting too many immigrants in would harm the culture of the current culture of the United States and America.
I didn't say that.
Did you not say that? Like, didn't you say that? Like,
yeah, I said it would have a lot of cultural impact, and we should do an analysis of that before we.
Impact. So would you like to like delve a little deeper into that claim, Jay, like of like how letting immigrants in may impact the cultural fabric of America?
No, it's self-evident. You know, you look at the so we start off with, you know, Anglo-Saxons, like, you know, Plymouth Rock, like Jamestown, and then you have, you know, secondary waves. You have immigrants from North Europe, like Northern European countries. You have immigrants from Germany, and those did have a big impact on America. You know, those people
they built American culture. They came in even before the Declaration of Independence and stuff like that. So immigrants from the start have built this country. Yeah.
What?
Immigrants from like the Dutch and the Germans were already here before we.
Not most of them though.
A large portion of them. New York, what was New York called before?
New Amsterdam.
The Dutch, yeah, New Amsterdam.
New Amsterdam.
Yeah, the Dutch settled New Amsterdam. That became New York. We have the Pennsylvania Dutch, Germans. Yeah, I mean, across up and down the East Coast.
Okay,
was
but
filled
my
with,
claim
immigrants.
is that immigration greatly affects the culture of a society. Yes, so
and transformed it into the society that ultimately rose up in independence against Britain. Developed the Constitution. Like, I mean, I don't know what you're saying. Like, if you're saying like it's changing the culture of America, immigrants change the culture of America into birthing America. I mean,
no, you look at these type of countries, they're all like very Protestant countries that believe in plurality. They have very strong values of tolerance. They are very individualistic, and they have the soul of frontiersmen. You know,
strong.
That's something that gets missed.
Tolerance. They do a lot of tolerance with the slavery, or what's up with that? Tolerance against the Native Americans. They're tolerant with them.
Yeah, more than the average country at that time. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. I mean, I don't see how we could have genocided Native Americans harder.
What do you think the Native Americans were doing before Europeans got here?
Normal human stuff.
Oh yeah, normal human stuff. Yeah, true. Yeah, you know, enslaving people, conquering other nations. Yeah, just normal people.
Like normal human stuff that we would expect from a society at that level of development.
Yeah, okay.
So my point is that the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants were not any better than any other immigrants.
they
They were not of like pure quality.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's definitely true. You have, the bad in every bunch, right? But the thing is they're already here. They, founded the nation.
Mhm.
That's the difference. They're like the Constitution set up is for the benefit of these people. You understand that, right?
Yeah, as it was originally set up, it didn't allow rights for people of color and women. So yeah, the country was set
Okay.
up to fundamentally benefit white Anglo-Saxon male Protestants. So it sounds a little bit like CRT there.
What?
It sounds like a little bit like CRT there. You're talking about CRT on me right now?
Can you explain CRT a little bit?
Don't worry about it. Don't
Alright,
worry about it. I'm just making a joke.
Okay,
We're gonna derail it.
before you counteract, so Jeya, finish your points off and like we can get it done with.
Okay, yeah. So, we analyzed okay, so I'm gonna just break it down. I'm gonna just state it really clearly.
Yeah, go for it.
The two main sources of immigration in the US currently are coming from Asia, India, China on H-1Bs, and from Mexico, Guatemala, etc., like Hispanic countries from the South. There's a lot of people coming in legally. There's a lot of people coming in legally. There's also a lot of people coming in illegally, either through overstaying visas or by entering illegally. And I'm pretty sure 50% of the non-citizen or what is it? I think I have it here, but anyways, like 50% of where is it? Anyways, like about 50% of people that immigrate here are not supposed to be here. That's basically it. But yeah, so we have these two main sources. So we need to analyze this. So we need to actually vet these people, make sure they're going to be good for the country. We need to limit these things because they will have an impact on our economics.
Hold on. So you want to limit the amount of immigrants coming into the country, but you also don't want illegal immigrants coming into the country, right?
No, zero illegal immigrants. Zero.
Okay, so you don't want. Okay, right. So when you limit and you make it harder for people to get into the United States, that isn't going to stop people from wanting to get into the United States. So they're gonna keep coming illegally.
So
in fact, they're gonna keep coming illegally in high. So we're gonna get the best people at getting in illegally. It's like a Hunger Games.
This is what's gonna happen. This is what's gonna happen. We're gonna reinstitute some of the merit-based policies of immigration. We're going to restrict all illegal immigration. I think a lot of people somewhat agree to this to some degree. Maybe we'll offer some benefits to illegals that are currently already in the United States. I don't know. It's a little bit.
I think we definitely should. I think we should, in fact, give them all citizenships.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, unless they've just got here, if they've been here for like a year or two, why not? I mean, they've been here.
A year or two?
Yeah.
No.
Why
I would not support that.
What if they're they're buying homes, getting married here? Like, what's up? You're just gonna be like, no, you're not a citizen, actually.
1 year? You think if somebody's here for 1 year? Okay.
I'd say that should probably be the minimum.
Let me ask you a question.
If they want to be here, then why? What's wrong with them being here?
What was your most recent ancestor who was an immigrant to the United States? This will give you some perspective.
I don't know it's been 19 years.
19 years?
Yeah, 19 years.
Oh, okay. Well, so do you know the actual experiences of an immigrant that would come into the United States and what it's like on their first year in the United States? Do you think they're
not personally?
Huh?
I said not personally.
Okay, yeah, sure. But do you have an overall idea of what it's like? And a lot of these people, if we're going back to the Haiti issue, 80% of them are not fluent.
But if they want to but if they want to live here, right, and they want to become Americans, then how about we let them become Americans instead of treating them like outsiders? That's only going to make them want to stay in their own culture, be more culturally isolated, instead of being like, yeah, you're American, I'm American, we're all Americans, let's all be Americans together. Why would they conform to American culture if we're gonna be like, you're not American, you're not a real American, we don't give you citizenship? If we do that, why would they want to conform to American culture and become Americanized?
But you're already assuming that they're in the United States.
Yes, the people we're talking about
Illegal.
giving citizenship to people who are here in the United States illegally. Yeah, that it was fair to assume they're in the United States. We're talking about people in the United States.
But they're committing a civil. They're breaking the civil code of the United States. Don't you think
They
people should be punished
walked
for breaking
across
the civil code?
they walked across a little line,
Yeah.
imaginary line, fake line.
Okay. What
invisible.
does sovereignty of a
Literally
nation
not even
mean
there.
to you? What does sovereignty of a nation mean to you?
Look, we can't assign morality by saying it's a law, therefore it's moral. It's
Okay.
not like
That is
I mean,
not what it is, though. It's not
that's
about.
literally what you just did. You're like, oh, they broke a law,
Should the
so they're
United
bad
States
people.
be able to enforce the law that they create?
Yes, but if we decide it's an unjust law or it doesn't benefit us anymore, we can change the law.
No. So if Americans decide to allow zero total immigration, what will happen in your eyes? What do you think will happen?
Massive illegal immigration.
Okay, so mass illegal immigration.
Mhm.
So what if the United States enforces our laws as a sovereign nation, a sovereign country, and we deport them all?
Then it would be morally bad
Why?
because they are coming to us for refuge and we are turning them away for not good reason. In my eyes, you're asking me, so I don't think we should.
I mean, the main reasons why people come to the United States is for economic opportunity. It's not for, political ideals. They're not reading Locke, Rousseau, Montesquieu. They're not, they're not.
Well, I mean, we have spent the past 60 years talking about how great America is, and then we're getting mad because people are coming to find out how great America is. I mean, we're calling it the land of the free. We're like, oh, well, okay, I'll be free to do what I want there. I want to go there. And then they go there and they get deported or get jailed.
Yeah, it's the land of the free. That doesn't mean you can come in and just, be an American. It's not ANCAP.
I know, but you're
leftists
you're getting annoyed that people are coming to the country after we
No, I'm
told them
getting
to
mad
come.
at the fact that they're breaking the law to come into the country.
Okay.
I love immigrants. I am a big immigrant fan.
Me too.
Okay? Yeah, you are misrepresenting my claims.
Okay.
And this is slander of a centrist figure.
Slander of an academic team member. No, I think you're saying, you like immigrants, but you don't like them if they're illegal. But what is the difference between, say, like a brother and a sister? The sister she gets in legally. The brother can't get in legally, but he really wants to, go live with his sister in the United States. So he immigrates illegally. What's the difference between those two? One got a citizenship, got a little piece of paper. The other one didn't. That's the only difference.
One of them is following the laws and procedures of the country, and the other one is not. It is as simple as that.
Mm-hmm. But people are going to want to get in regardless. If
yes,
it's
and we
against
have
the law or not.
We have the ability to enforce our laws to make sure that they don't do this.
No, we don't. It's not going to be possible to secure the entire border. It would be financially ruinous to try and do it. And there's no reason. It's silly. Why are we going to pay billions of dollars instead of just letting more people in? They're not going to be immigrating illegally if you just let them in legally. You won't have, I'm not in support of this, but say we just made all immigration legal, open borders, no more border patrol, anything.
Okay,
people can just walk in.
Do that, I would be completely on board with your policy if you allowed us to annex all of South America, all of Central America, and use their resources to the fullest. I would 100% support that. You give us our people, you give us your people, you also have to give us your resources. Simple as.
Well, it's not their people anymore. They're coming to the United States to become American citizens. They're not Mexicans anymore. They're Americans.
What do I know?
You're saying your people, but the people who are coming from Mexico are now Americans. They are our people now.
Okay.
Right.
So let's do a little bit of
But hold on, I just want to confirm here.
Let's do a little bit of calculus, okay? So
yeah, but I just want to wrap up my point from before.
Okay.
If we made all immigration legal, you just walk in, you're a citizen now. Would you be fine with that then? Aside from the fact that you wouldn't want everybody just walking in. I mean, they walk in, they're now a citizen, so they didn't break any law. So you're fine with that.
Yeah, I mean that completely, devalues the
Right,
worth
but
of
I'm just
American
wondering
citizenship,
about
but
the
sure.
laws then. Okay.
So you're saying, okay, so in this hypothetical, you're saying that these people could just become residents of like, a state, and then they can like, immediately vote?
Yeah, you just walk in and you're that.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not saying I
So,
support that, but I'm saying
so
like they
okay,
immediately
so in
become
this
citizens as soon as they
hypothetical,
walk through.
in this hypothetical, let's say, 700 million people from China in a special Xi Jinping operation, they come in, they get 2/3 of every single state, they win
Okay.
the electoral college by massive landslide. They install Xi Jinping as Governor General of the United States.
Mhm.
Governor General of the United States. And then we become a colony of China. How
You know
great would
what?
that be?
That is democracy at work right there.
Yeah, that is
Right.
democracy.
How
You know
would
what?
Xi
You know
Jinping
what?
become
Listen,
American
listen, to me,
president?
listen to me. If 700 million Chinese people walk into the borders and they vote Xi Jinping as our new president, you know what? At that point, they deserved it. Like they deserve it at that point. Like they get it. They can get the presidency.
I mean,
If
honestly,
they
do.
organize something that big, I'd just be impressed, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm not in favor of open borders, open citizenship. It just devalues the concept.
It's because it's a
Citizenship.
better situation.
But the reason why I bring that up is just to know, like, your only problem with immigration when it comes to like illegal immigration is that they're breaking a law that we
No,
wrote in.
I have a problem in that I think that some immigrants will not have a net benefit to the United States.
Okay. Yeah, some immigrants will not have net benefit to the United States, but overall, on average, they dramatically do. That's what the data shows. So we shouldn't discount all immigration because some immigrants are going to be bad. This doesn't make any
Yes.
sense.
Okay. So if we increase legal immigration and we start,
We
putting
increase
in
legal immigration,
policies-
illegal immigration goes down, just so you know.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say we get down to 0 illegal immigration. Okay.
Well,
and
we get
put
close,
in,
close to zero.
Yeah.
It's obviously
and
never
then
gonna
we
be.
put in like harsh restrictions on the legal immigration, like very set things like, okay, you're gonna take the SAT, okay, you need a
Mhm.
1400 to come in, okay.
Okay.
Let's say we do that. Okay, will there be more illegal immigrants then?
Yes.
Yes.
So what you're saying is that it doesn't matter what immigration policy we have, we're going to have the same immigrants, right?
Yeah.
So
Roughly.
if we're going to have roughly the same immigrants, what is the benefit of having a border?
Oh, okay. Okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah. So the difference between like letting people go in and safely and happily and not that is that we're subjecting people to dying on the way into the border. We're subjecting people to trusting people to smuggle them across the border, which ultimately results in a lot of drug trafficking and human trafficking, deaths and murders. We're exposing them to the elements. We're exposing them to bad situations with law enforcement. We're also possibly exposing them to not being able to get into the country, and whatever situation they're fleeing back at home ends up hurting or killing them or just making them unhappy. So there's a huge difference between just saying like they're going to get in anyways, so we might as well just make it illegal. There's a huge difference between that because we cause huge amounts of human suffering by making it like by allowing no immigration.
This is the exact same argument that pro-abortion people give. You know that, right? Like,
I mean, I don't see how
it's
it's
going to happen
related.
anyways. It's going to happen anyways. We shouldn't have it on the books. I mean, if you're going to come at this from a moral angle,
no, we're going to have it on the books. We're going to let them in. We're going to have the basic security check. It's not going to be we're going to make it much more efficient because right now legal immigration is so difficult to do. It's ridiculous.
Okay, stop. If you can have a basic security check, so in your eyes, why wouldn't they just illegally immigrate into the country? I thought you said that
because if it's a basic security check that most people with good intentions can pass, then most people with good intentions, which are most immigrants, are going to be able to come in. And then you have that small subsection that don't have good intentions, and we have border patrol for that reason. We don't have border patrol so that to stop someone who's coming in who's like ready to make a life in America. We're stopping people who are like trying to smuggle drugs, do human trafficking, bring in weapons, etc. That's not, we don't have border patrol to stop, people with good intentions. Or at least that's not why we should have them. So if we let people with good intentions in for the most part, then I'm that's what I'd be happy with. We both don't want people coming in that have intent to harm or hurt America or American citizens or whatever. I don't think anybody wants that. I'm just saying that right now the immigration process is so difficult that good people with good intentions are resorting to immigrating illegally because it's so much more difficult to just get in.
All right, yeah. So I think we should conclude it right now. So
it's not impossible.
But if you guys just say your concluding statements and yeah.
Okay, well, I think this debate has been, somewhat productive. I hope I've, sort of given some introductory level arguments that, sort of go against, mass immigration policy. But I don't think I have given you guys the full story. If you want to learn more about immigration policy and reform, I highly suggest you to do your own research, consult different sources, and don't only look at what the far left provides you. Do not look at the lamestream media. They are just lying to you, frankly. And you guys should do your own research, come to your own conclusions. But what I'd like to say, basically, is I am pro-immigrant, but I believe in restricted immigration. I do not think the numbers add up in today's society, with all this automation, restricting jobs. We're transitioning to like a gig economy. And I frankly don't see the benefit of mass unskilled immigration in America. That's just how it is.
All right, yes. So now, Nico, what's your take?
Okay. I also had a lot of fun in this debate. I appreciate you coming on. And I'll go ahead and say the same thing. I am pro legal immigration, anti illegal immigration, as long as legal immigration is letting in a heck of a lot more people, and illegal immigration is only people that are coming in or trying to get into the United States with bad intentions. I think we should massively streamline the current process, efficientize it, and change our laws so that we're letting in a lot more people, because right now we're not letting in nearly enough people, and it's not very humane, the conditions down at the border. All in order for one, to stop as much human suffering as possible, two, make the United States a stronger country in its upcoming, basically it's all its upcoming struggles in the future. I think we all want to build a strong America, and I see immigration as a way towards that. And third, as a economically beneficent policy, that's what the numbers show. And I think hesitancy around immigration, particularly large amounts of immigration, is understandable. I understand why people are scared of change. That's sort of what the natural thing is. But I think once you really look into it, it becomes clear that more immigration is ultimately always, or in most cases, always going to be beneficial for us. And as our country has been built on immigration from the start, I think our country is a pretty clear piece of evidence in that argument. So that's my closing statement.
Okay, so now I guess we can stop recording. So make sure everyone watching this subscribes, tell their family subscribe. Anyone, friends, relatives, tell them to subscribe, and have a nice
Go
day.
on the street, grab a couple of people, force them to subscribe. Comment, we have an Instagram. Obviously we have our website, though both will be linked in the bio. We have a Discord, we have a TikTok now. We might post a couple clips on our TikTok of this debate, and I think that's it. Thank you again for coming on. Thank you for the debate. It's really enjoyable. I hope there's no animosity between us. I definitely don't have any towards you. I think it was a really fun debate. And thank you, Vikaas, for moderating. Yep. And thank you for our viewers again for watching.
Yep. Thank you to Vikaas and Nico.
Yep.
Cool.